Do you ever think that games are just a little bit too easy? Do you ever play an RPG and think, man, if only all these characters that I've loved and bonded with could die horrible, gruesome deaths? If the answer is yes, then I have a game for you. Darkest Dungeon is a 2D side-scrolling game that sets you as the inheritor of a great hamlet, besieged by dark and evil powers. You're responsible for coordinating a stream of oncoming adventurers to defend and retake your once proud native lands. The game captures you really quickly with its amazing Lovecraft-style graphics and its really unique gameplay mechanics, like a stress meter that is a sort of a second health bar to every adventurer and measures their mental well-being as they descend into madness. Your awe for the game is pretty quickly undermined, though, when suddenly your crusader develops a fear of religion and backstabs your only religious healer, leaving your party completely compromised when your ranger then decides that they're a masochist and charges head-on into the boss room while you're completely unprepared. And for some reason, your bard has syphilis now, so, there's that. Anyway, on to today's build. One of the really cool aspects of this game is that occasionally, bosses will just show up and completely turn the game on its head. One of these guys is a dude named the Collector, and he is a real jerk. He will show up and summon back dead adventurers to really screw with you, and if you don't have a right team comp, he can be almost impossible to defeat, and you don't even know that he's coming half the time. Anyway, after the Astroneer project turned out so well, I really wanted to do something else with that glow-in-the-dark filament, since I did have 3 more rolls of it just laying around. So I decided that I was going to replicate his head and the cage that it sits in, but put a black light in it to make a nice skull lamp and recreate his really eerie and creepy glow. To start off, let's go ahead and design the cage for the skull. I'm going to use Autodesk Maya because that's my personal preference, but you could use any other CAD software. Next, we're going to work on the skull. Rather than try to create a fresh skull from scratch, I'm going to just go ahead and pull one in from Thingiverse that will be much better and faster than anything I could make on my own. Now let's design something for the skull to stand on. We're going to print this in black, and it's only going to hide the electronics, so we need to hollow this out, and we're going to put a little spot for the cables to run through. Before we print, let's put the 3 together and make sure that they overlap and have the look that we're kind of going for. Great, but before we can print, we need to cut the cage into a couple different parts because it's a little bit too large to fit on the print bed. Alright, let's get printing. One piece of the cage is done, so let's go ahead and remove all the supports that it came with. Alright, the skull had to be printed with a lot of supports, but it looks really nice. Let's use a pair of needle nose pliers to really rip away all the supports. Alright, all the prints finished and they're looking good. Alright, and let's take a minute and go ahead and super glue the cage together. Now let's get the lights hooked up. Let's run this extension cord inside the stand and run the wire out the back. Next, let's use this adapter. This is pretty cheap and it's basically like $2 at Walmart or any basic electrician store. Screw in this blacklight bulb and we're set up. It looks great. I couldn't be happier with the results. It really holds the charge well and it has a very creepy look to it. I hope you enjoyed this video and let me know what game or show I should make something from next. Some Bad Engineer, signing off.